So yeah, thank you, Wolfgang, for coming up to the studio. So I know you since a long time, So, but I want people to know you about your love to Nepal. So yeah, like in our conversation, we'll talk more on that. So first, I would like to ask, like, when did you got to know about Nepal? Like, how do you get to know about Nepal?
We were a young mountaineer in Austria, and at this time, the high mountains were our wish to go there to the Himalayas, and this was in the late 60s, early 70s, and so we decided to go for an expedition to Nepal, to Himalayas, and it was in 1970 that I came first time to Nepal to see this country. It was completely different than today. But then for 1972 we make our first expedition to Manaslu South Face, and so I get to love this country because it was not only the mountains what we love, it was the people, the culture, the religion, everything. And so I started my Nepal career, if you want to say like this, in the early 70s.
So do you remember your age, like when you were first in Nepal?
Yes, I was 26 years.
Okay.
And
so if you're okay, then can you say your age right now? How old are you now?
I'm now 79,
79.
getting 80 next year.
Okay.
So quite old. And
Yeah.
But it was really first only the mountains. In 74 we went again to an expedition to Makalu South Face. In 78 I climbed Everest as a first Austrians, and it was a very, very successful expedition where Messner and Habeler climbed also without use of oxygen. And I was expedition leader at this time also, and stand myself on the 3rd of May in 78, I stand on the summit of Everest. But at this time, this was 25 years after the first ascent of Hillary and Tenzing, and I was at this time, 25 years later, number 60 on top. That means it's so crazy if you see it now, 300 people on one day. You can't imagine you climb. But it's a different time. Today it's not more expedition and mountaineering. Today it's tourism, alpine tourism only.
So do you remember like how many days does it take for you to climb Mount Everest?
Of course, 3.5 months we have been on expedition. We walked in from Lukla to the base camp, had 300 porters to bring all in, had to do all by ourselves. There has not been icefall doctors or rope fixing Sherpas. We had 20 Sherpas. They helped us to bring up the loads to the higher camp, but all other we have to do ourselves. We have to fix the rope. We have to fix the icefall. We have to make the ladders, the steep parts and the difficult parts, and we have to put up the tents, and the places for the tents we have to fix. And it was it was exploration and expedition, not like today where all is done from base camp up to summit. They have fixed ropes, and this is a different time, and it was a good time.
Yeah. So, like, how many times have you traveled Nepal so far?
Now it's my 106th time in Nepal.
So it's 106th time you are in Nepal?
Yes.
So I think it's kind of record, no?
I don't know. Maybe there are others who has been more times here, but I feel happy that I could come so many times. And I know the country nearly from east to west and from north to south, and have been in different bases. And I trekked all areas of Nepal, and I have been to cultural places as well, and it was really a good time.
Yeah. So like, you have traveled Nepal so many times, and it's been like a very long journey that you have first stepped to Nepal and till now, So what difference do you see in the lifestyle of the people, in terms of infrastructure? What difference do you see like then and now?
You must say the development in mountaineering, and also the development
of the country itself.
Yes. In the 70s, it was all natural, and it was very poor country, especially outside in the areas. There were no tourismos at all. But this comes then when we talked at home from our expeditions. We write books about our expeditions, about Nepal, and then more and more people are coming, and the country developed so well, especially for tourism. I can compare it with our home country, Tyrol.
Exactly.
It's a small district in Austria, and we have also a lot of mountains and deep valleys. And there was no tourismus before, and the tourismus brought that the people could get a better life. And this is same here. The tourismus brought the people a better life. And if you go now for a trek, you have all what you need. You have good lodges, you have good food, you have all facilities what you need. When I remember, we had not even no connection to the world outside when we have been on our expeditions. We had no radio to Kathmandu or other things. We have radio between the camps, but we had a mail runner who brought the mail in some days out to the next small airport, and then he sent the letter to Kathmandu, and Liz Hawley, he was here, she sent it then to Austria, and a letter took about 10 days, 14 days at home from base camp, and back the same. And the connection was also so bad in the 70s. After our Manaslu expeditions, we had a bad accident, and then we wanted to telephone home to the relatives. Then they said in Pokhara, maybe it takes a line. It takes a week to get a line.
Okay.
This was a different. And how nowadays they go to summit of Everest and have a live stream.
Yeah, from there they can do the live stream
Yes,
these days.
yes.
Yeah. So like, if you look into the culture, because I think, like, as you said earlier as well, like culture, the religion, like the lifestyle of the people, the way, like, people, the hospitality that people have. So these are the things that attracts tourists to Nepal, So do you find it same or like different?
No, it's still the same. The
It's still the
culture is
same.
still the same. And just now, it's good to see how it developed, especially after the earthquake in 2015, how quick they rebuilt the cultural places, and this was really a good thing. And I know it from before and also now.
No, exactly.
And some places are better than before, of course. If you think about Patan or Bhaktapur or the Durbar Square, so some places they rebuilt much better. Also in the countryside, some monastery get built up much better than they have been before, but that's okay.
So you might have feel like a kind of feel of this cultural shock. Do you feel like that when you come in your earlier days? So when you first come to Nepal, like Australia definitely is in Europe country, so it's much developed, So once you first come here, the food we have, the way the people interact with you. So does it give you a kind of cultural shock, or like it was?
No, we came here well prepared.
Okay.
We read a lot about Nepal, and we heard a lot about Nepal from books and from films and movies, and so we saw it like what cultural shock we didn't have. Maybe some people have one cultural shock when they come here, and especially in earlier times when they saw that it's not all clean, and some places are dirty, and the food is not good, or you cannot eat, or you can't drink water. And this was for some people, I'm sure, a cultural shock, but not for us.
And because you're like well prepared, so you know the things what could have happened here when you come to Nepal. No. So because you've been traveling so much time in Nepal, So the beauty of Nepal, you love the mountaineering, all these things. For that, you come to Nepal is one part, So during this time, do you have kind of like emotional attachment with the people in Nepal, or some friends, that drags you frequent to Nepal?
Of course.
Can you like share some of your experience?
You get involved very much with the Sherpa people, the Sherpas who assist us in all our expeditions, and we get familiar with them. And so I have a lot of friends, especially in the Sherpa country, but I get known also friends outside here when we travel through the country. And so after I have been here many times and I did a lot of expeditions, I saw also what Ed Hillary, first summit of Mount Everest, did in this country, and so we wanted to do something same. We want to give back what the country gives to us, such a lot of emotions, of beautiful things, and so we wanted to give back something also to this country, and this we did then with the Nepal Hilfe Tirol, is an organization for helping, especially here in Nepal. We are a small organization, but we could do a lot, and this makes me happy and proud also.
So this organization was formed when you first come to Nepal, and you want to do something for Nepal, right?
It
so
comes
thereafter you form this organization.
Yes, it comes later.
Later, yeah.
Later, when we have been here 10 years or 15 years, then we saw what is necessary to help. We saw that the schools are not very good. We saw that some places are important to rebuild, and so we did a lot. And then, of course, the main thing was after the earthquake, when Nepal needed a big help everywhere. We tried to help in small parts, and we could, I think, help a lot. We did nearly €500,000 bring in after the earthquake to this country.
Yeah. So, after the earthquake, or even before that, so what are the areas of your work? Like, you rebuild the schools, you have been helping people with disabilities, and what more do you do in terms of your social work in Nepal?
Not only in Nepal, it's another thing. I bring since 15 years now. I bring every year 15, not only Sherpa, Nepali people who are working in the trekking business to Austria, to mountain huts. These are like the lodges here, and they will learn all what is necessary to run a hut. That means from kitchen, hygienic problems, making the road, service, cleanliness, everything. They come to Austria, they get a working permit, and they get employed there for 3 to 4 months, earn a lot of money, and come back here and have learned how to run a lodge. And if you walk through the country and you see a lodge from one man or girl who has been there, it's different. You know exactly, they have been there, they learned what it's necessary for tourism.
So you have been doing it since last 15 years, right?
The last 15 years.
So every time you take 15 people at a time? Or
30 people.
30 people,
Every summer.
So more than 450 people have already traveled, or they have
that's right.
got a kind of entrepreneur experience or exposures.
Yes. It's a win-win situation for everybody. The people here has no work in summer because there is monsoon and not a trekking season.
Especially for the Sherpas,
Especially for the Sherpas. And in our country, they need staff, good workers that help us. And so they train them, they learn them what to do. And so it's a win situation for everybody because they come back home with some money and the hut owners has good workers.
So how much aware you are of Nepali politics?
Yeah, I follow, of course, always about politics, and I was, since I have been here many times in this time where the Maoists were outside the country, they were like they charged our trekking groups and extra money.
Yes, exactly, Wolfgang. I want to hear some of your experience, during the Maoist insurgency. When there was Maoist insurgency going on. During that time, also you come to Nepal and you make the treks, for a number of days up in the mountains, walking.
Yes.
So do you have this kind of experience with the the people there, or some politicians? So can you please share some of the interesting one?
They stopped your group someplace and ask for money. You get the so-called red permit. Then they say you can go on under the security of the Maoists, but you have to pay extra money for it. And this was not so fine, of course. But,
so how much did they used to charge you?
Remember.
It was
it was different.
Higher than the government rate, or
much higher.
Much higher.
Yeah. But I can't remember now. It was some places only 6,000 rupees, other places 10,000 Nepali rupees per person.
You need to pay it per person.
Yes.
Per head.
Yeah, per head. But the development was, of course, good. I think after this bad situation in the royal family, it changed a little bit. And I think now the situation is quite good, and the country is developing. They have good politicians, and especially if I see in Kathmandu now with a new mayor, it changed. It's clean. It's clean. It's visible, really visible, that if you go through the town, that it's something changed. And then you ask what is changed here, then you see no more garbage on the streets, clean streets, and the traffic there, it's still bad, but it's better than before. And so I think you see the change. And this, when I asked why is this changed, and they said it's a new mayor, and that's good.
So do you know the name of the mayor?
No.
You don't know, right?
No.
So do you know the name of the Prime Minister of Nepal right now?
No,
No,
I
okay.
can't. Yeah.
Do you remember some of our Prime Ministers?
Of course, Mr. Oli.
Okay.
Yeah.
So do you how interested you are in the Prime Ministers or the politician of Nepal? So do you follow them or you just look after the news, what's happening?
I see after the news. I met some minister also on different events like the Jubilee of Everest and 50 years Jubilee. I have been here 60 years Jubilee, 70 years Jubilee, and then you meet them and make handshake and small talk, but that's all.
So what do they talk about during that time? So they talk about some how they can uplift the tourism industry of Nepal, or
it was especially
do you make some suggestions
that
to them?
we spoke about tourism and in 2000. I don't know exactly, maybe 2016, I was for 2 years, I get applied as ambassador of tourism.
Yes.
And so we did a lot with the Ministry of Tourism and worked together. I was on fairs in Germany and Austria to give lectures about Nepal. And this was good for me and good for the country.
So you were as a tourism ambassador for 2 years, operated by the government of Nepal for Austria, right? So how was your experience during these 2 years working with the bureaucrats of Nepal?
Very complicated.
Yeah.
Yes. It was a hard thing. We make suggestions, we sent letter, and we said, you could do this so or so, but it was difficult to get answer and to get a reply.
Okay. So does it make you more difficult to work with them, or do you make some suggestions to them?
We make some suggestions, but it was not easy to
So what do you think the reason behind it could be?
Of course, the developing in tourism is good. It starts on the airport. If you arrive, and this is now very well handled. Before it was crowded and terrible, and now it's nice and clean and easy to get the visa and come into the country. And so it starts there, and it starts with the friendliness of the people, and it goes on then that the organizations are well done, the trekking agencies are working well. Airline system is a little bit complicated. If I heard that 3 days was no flight to Lukla the last days, and it makes it complicated also for the tourists. But maybe there can be done something in future.
What could be your suggestions, in terms of because you being a tourist to Nepal and traveling so frequently, so you have a lot of experience. Maybe some of them are good, and some are maybe complicated, So on top of that, what suggestion would you like to make to the government, so that it will be easier for tourists to come to Nepal and explore more?
It is easy for tourists to come to Nepal. This is not a problem, but sometimes, how shall I say? For example, this rule that a trekker must have a guide. It's not necessary in all places because they take porters. That's good. I like to take porters because I can walk easier.
Exactly.
And the people get work. This is. I tell always my friend, don't carry your things by yourself. Give one man or one lady work. And,
exactly.
It's easier for you. It makes good for the people. And so there are some rules in the country that I cannot understand like this. In Khumbu, you don't need a guide. On other places, you need a guide. And
so that makes it more complicated, right?
It makes it.
So, what do you like the most of Nepal, in terms of food, or maybe some cultures that that gives you a good memory?
It's, as you say, it's always a combination. A combination of mountains, landscape, culture, religion, and for all people.
Okay.
This is important. What makes Nepal, for me, a harmonic country to stay there, to go there, to travel there, and that's good.
So do you have like a specific taste of Nepal? Like, okay, this is the best food that I like, or so like there is maybe like there is some food like you want to try it for sure when you comes to Nepal.
Yeah. First, what I do is that I go, when I arrive here, that I make a walk to the market to get the smell of Nepal also.
Okay.
And then, of course, chicken chili, dal bhat, is a food what you have to do. And you have to taste also.
So do you like remember some of the Nepali specific songs or something like that?
Yeah, Resampiriri, of course. And
that's a very popular one, no? Like most
yes,
of the tourists, they know this song.
Yeah, of course.
So beyond that, some more?
Yeah, I heard a lot of songs, but
you don't remember?
Yeah.
Okay. So like, because Australia is also like a mountainous country, right? So what difference do you see in the mountains over there and then in Nepal?
In the mountains is no difference. In tourism is a difference.
Okay.
It's well structured and well done in our country.
Okay.
You see, Nepal has now, I think, 21 million people population. When I come first here in 1970, it has been 9 million.
Yeah, I think it's almost like 30 million now.
30 million.
Yeah, almost 3 crores now.
I can't imagine.
Yeah.
And these are all young people. They get more and more good education. But what they should work then? The tourism is one possibility to work. And I can't remember the number, how many tourists coming to Nepal. I think it's, maybe you know it, in a year. It was, I know only that in the Khumbu area, in a 1 year, track around 70,000. In the Annapurna area, it's more, but this is nothing compared with tourism in Austria.
Yeah.
Because only if you think to the famous Oktoberfest in München, this beer festival, there are in 3 weeks 6 million people. And this is a difference.
Quite a huge number, no?
Quite a huge number, yeah. But they can handle it, and Nepal should handle it also, that it makes not only the famous tourist resorts like the Khumbu or the Annapurna region, that they divide and split the tourism in other country areas, in other regions also, that they promote, for example, Mustang or Tolpo or Spiti or other places where not so much people, that they get, not all people are going to the same place, then it's crowded, and then problems come out like now in Lukla, that they can't go out.
So yeah, like as you said, like like tourists, they are really focused to some of the very particular place only,
Of
like
course.
mountains, like Annapurna or Everest.
I can understand, because if somebody is coming to Nepal and he is a friend of mountains, then he wants to see the high mountains like Lhotse, Everest, Choyu, Makalu and others. But Nepal tourism should say, we have not only the high mountains, we have also other areas. We have also the Chitwan, or we have Lumbini or other places where to go, and it's worth to go there. This is maybe very important.
So do you used to make this kind of suggestions when you were like a tourist ambassador?
Yes, I did.
And what was the response from the government side during that time?
Not a response.
No any response?
I make some suggestions, many pages of paper, and send it, but there was no response. Sometimes when the Nepal Tourist Board was traveling for travel fairs, then in Austria and in Germany, then we made some things together to promote Nepal, but it was very difficult. Now in Austria there is a very good ambassador, a new one from Nepal, and he do a lot to promote Nepal in tourism. He really telephone us and ask, I'm coming to Innsbruck to your place, or I'm coming there, or come you please and help us to do something. This is very good, and we enjoy this very much.
So what do you think like Nepal has beyond mountains, because I'm asking you because you have been traveling so much time to Nepal and you know a lot of Nepal now. So what do you think like, are like undermined by the people, like they are the things like Chitwan, like with like wildlife, maybe like the trekking routes, or even like there are a lot of things in Tarai area like big lakes, So what suggestion do you want to make like beyond mountains, like what people can come here and explore?
Yeah, this is the wildlife, especially in the south, in the Chitwan area, or in the near Lumbini, there's another national park.
Exactly.
And the cultural places like Lumbini or I have been now in Halesi, for example.
Halesi.
Nobody goes there. I was the only one tourist there at this time, and I think this is important that they promote such places as well. And another thing is what I'm thinking so many times, it would be, Nepal is such a rich country in water.
In water,
and
exactly.
The water power is not very much
utilized.
It could, I think, Nepal with the Himalayan river could do a lot of power stations with water, and this should be promoted also.
So what do you see in Australia? Like, because I as I know, like in Innsbruck itself, like, there is a like motorbike, trekking up to the mountains and this kind of mountaineering games as well, right? Which we don't find in Nepal. Is it true?
You find in Nepal.
You find that in Nepal also, like some of the games in mountains, like?
No, I have seen this morning a group of Royal Enfield motorcycles going to Mustang, to Lomandang, and it comes there also. And they go by bicycle around Annapurna or to Everest base camp. This is another kind of tourism, but especially with the mountain bike, there are so many nice areas around Kathmandu, for example, on the hillside, where they could do a lot of routes, and they can promote this mountain biking here in the Kathmandu Valley also. And mountain biking is very popular in Austria and in Germany, and so if they promote this a little bit, I'm sure some would like to come here, like the motorcycler. Cyclist.
So we talk about like what changes do you see in Nepal, but do like what remains the same the time you come and till now? Like, do you find something that remains the same till now?
Yes, the people.
The people, okay. the hospitality.
Of course, the hospitality is here. They laughing, they joking, and this is very good.
So in terms of the finance, like how much like you used to pay at that time when you come to Nepal, and like how do you see that, the cost effectiveness?
The costs are okay now. In earlier times, everything was cheap. But nowadays, of course.
So do you remember something like, at that time I used to have this for this much of money, and now it's like this much cost?
No, not at all. I remember only that flights also expensive in the 70s, like now.
Okay.
But you can't compare this time. It was a different time.
Because the time value of money
of course, value of money was different, and so
So do you have some memory when you were climbing up to the mountain, like some incident or something like that, that you still remember?
Of course, I have good memories and I have sad memories also. Good memories are, of course, if we reach the summit of an expedition or we could do something. And one of the best memories is also when we could rescue and help some people in the mountains, especially
so when we were making the trip.
Yeah, in 1979, we wanted to climb Mount Amadablam, one of the most beautiful mountains here in Nepal, and a difficult mountain. And there was another expedition from New Zealand with the son of Peter Hillary, and the avalanche came down and go over these 4 people, the New Zealanders, and they could not come down. And so we decided to abandon our expedition, went in and rescued them and brought them down to the base. This was very successful and very good memory because we could help.
Exactly.
I had bad memories also when friends of mine died in the mountains. And and I by myself was once in an avalanche on Cho-Yu South Face in 1982 when my friend died beside me in the tent, and they could rescue me out of the avalanche.
So, like, how did die? Because of the oxygen, or like they slipped or something like that?
An ice avalanche was falling down to our tent and covered the tent, and beside were 2 Sherpas, luckily. They've digged out.
So it was like snow slide?
Yes.
Okay.
And then they found my friend, Rainer Karl, a very famous German climber who climbed Everest also with us, and he was dead. And then after 45 minutes, they digged me out, and I could survive. But at this time, this was not possible, a helicopter to call.
To rescue,
There was no helicopter, nothing. A friend and we have to go down 16 hours. I was very bad injured and have a broken leg, and we have to walk down and out still next small airport in Siangpoche, and this was different. This was, of course, a sad time also to remember such times. But this is what makes the mountains.
Exactly.
This is luck and sadness also.
Yeah.
Happiness and sadness.
Yeah. So how does like mountain looks like, in terms of the pollution? Because these days we got to know of we hear the news that mountain is getting polluted, the dead bodies are like here and there, So people are taking all the food or like something like that and they just drop it there, so it's not well clean. So how do you see it like?
It's now better than in earlier times because now, especially for expeditions, they have very strict rules and they have to go after these rules. This is very good, and also the Nepali people get another thinking about pollution. In earlier times, they all put away.
Okay.
If you walked some place, you saw plastic and every bottles and tins and everything. Now the local peoples are looking that they have a clean country, and this is much better than maybe 40 years ago. So, and of course, expedition is a different thing, but expedition has strong, strict rules, and it's better than before.
So if you compare the Australia and Nepal, so in terms of mountains and all these things, so in Australia also you have a lot of mountains, like not the big one, but like, a lot of things. But you have because you might know the people who are more interested in mountaineering. So how do they see Nepal there? So what they talk about Nepal in Australia, like?
Yeah.
So how they look Nepal, what they say about Nepal, what they think that Nepal is all about. So once you talk back in Australia with your friends, like.
Yes. When one of our friends come one time to Nepal, he come the second, third time also. They like Nepal. We have also very nice and beautiful mountains in our country, not so high mountains, but also very difficult mountains to climb. But the high mountains are here.
Exactly.
And this is different.
So do you know how many different mountains have you climbed here in Nepal?
I didn't count. I was on 7 expeditions for 8,000 meter peaks. And I was of maybe 30, 40 trekking peaks over 6,000 meter. And I traveled so many times through the country but I didn't count how much peaks it was. Maybe 100.
So do you got some kind of recognition from the government, like from Nepal, like because you have been traveling so many times to Nepal, at the same time you are also like exchanging the people from here to Austria, and then beyond that also you are even promoting the Nepali tourism as well.
Yeah, in 2003 we got, this was the 50 years jubilee of Mount Everest. We got from the king the medal.
Okay.
Yeah, and
so who was the king at that time?
Birendra.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
So you are also invited for the medal, right?
Yes. All summiters get this medal.
Okay.
And just a few weeks ago, this was the Austrian ambassador, the Nepali ambassador in Austria, who made also on the Everest Day, he promote now the Everest Day every 29th May, because this was the day of the first descent. And so he gave a small signification to all summiters as well. Yeah.
So what do you think, the government should do regarding the mountaineers? Like what much or what more can they do to promote it even bigger, in larger scale?
They should not promote in larger scale. They should not do like it is now on Everest, that they give permission to everybody who is not mountaineer. They should restrict a little bit.
Okay.
Now the base camp is a city with 1,000 tents, and that's not good for for everything. And maybe if they limit a little bit the number of expeditions, they can charge more for the royalty, and but it would be better for the mountain, and I'm sure that there are less accidents also.
So, once you travel to Kathmandu and all the cities, I'm pretty sure that the time when you come first to the Nepal, it was not this much crowded,
No,
so now it's like much crowded.
Yeah.
So, what change do you feel when you walk in the street of Kathmandu these days?
Yeah, to walk is difficult. When we have been here in the 70s, we did all by bicycle.
Okay.
We went from here to Bauda or to Batan or Pashupatinath every place we make by bicycle. Now you need 1 hour by car.
Yeah, even it's more difficult because of the traffic and all these things.
Yes, of course. And this traffic problem is, I think, the biggest problem for future in Nepal also. The streets are improving. Yeah, like we went now to the Khumbu area, to Baflu. The streets are improving. Also the street to Pokhara, they are upgrading now, and this is important. But the traffic, the number of cars, vehicles, motorcycles is so immense, and it will be very, very difficult, I think, to make here some.
So, like, do you remember, like, what is the largest time you have arrived in Nepal in 1 year?
I think 4 times.
In 1 year?
In 1 year.
When was that?
After the earthquake.
So you came here basically to help,
Yes, right.
Okay.
Yeah.
You invested in, like, or you supported with the schools.
Yes.
You supported with the health camps, and what more, like?
We rebuilt
Okay.
2 new schools, and we supported 1, 2, 3, 4 other schools. Just now we support a small school in a remote area in the lower Khumbu, in Necha, but where the government does not a lot.
Exactly.
They don't have the right things to teach. They didn't have computers, nothing. And we brought this to this school also, because it's important. Education is the main thing for the future of the children.
Exactly.
And for this, we support these schools. Then there was the Hillary Hospital in Kunde, in the Solokhumbu area. This was destroyed after the earthquake. And the Messner Foundation and our Nepal Hilfe Tirol spent nearly 250,000 euro to rebuild this also. And then we did a lot of, for example, education for the children also. We bring them all material what they need for learning, school dresses for them. Then we provide also for these handicapped people some things every year, what we enjoy very much, because this project is so good in our eyes that you help here to handicapped people to give them a new life. And so the projects come together. You can find all our projects in the website of Nepal Hilfe Tirol. And another project is, for example, this 1 day, 1 tree. It's together with Hauser Excursions, a big company in Germany. We make this, and the Sir Ed Hillary's Foundation Germany, they make reforesting, for example, in the Khumbu area and in the Langdang area, where the avalanche the earthquake take away the forest, and the forest is important for against avalanche, for example, and it's important also for the climate. And so we have this 1 day, 1 tree reforesting project. Then we helped also that a coffee farm could grow up, and the people grow coffee. We had one very, very good successful project with stoves. In the lodges, they have a small stove. They heat this stove, and it's getting warm in 1 hour, and after another hour, it's cold again, because all goes out up in the air.
So normally you find this in, like, mountain areas, right?
Yes, and so we made a construction that the stove keep the heat now for more than 4 hours, 6 hours, and they need half of the burning material. And one technician came to Austria, 3 months, learned everything. Then we put all what he needs for making the stoves in a container, send it here, and he opened the workshop, and now he has 15 employees because it's working successfully. That's help for self-help, I think.
I think, like, you have been supporting more in the Solokhumbu area, right?
Not only, no. In the Khumbu area we did a lot, but also in Nuwakot, and in the lower Khumbu.
So how supportive do you find the local people there, like maybe the local government or the people you work with?
We have partners, like the Partners Nepal, or you, VIA, or the Nepal Green Dara Foundation, and there we have some partners. With them we work together. These are NGOs here, and we can they are reliable, and we can trust them that the money what we bring is in the right hands.
Yeah. So like, how do you choose? Like, how do you choose the projects? Because like, if
we get suggestions. We get a lot of suggestions, of course, and then our board choose it. Yeah, this is this decision then of the board.
Okay.
Yeah, but we can get 100 projects we could do, but we don't want. We want to do what we do. We want to do good, and we don't have so much money because it's more and more difficult to get donations also in Europe because of the war. Now Israel's war starts also, and the Ukrainian war is. The refugees come to Austria, and everything is getting more expensive, and we have also poor people in our country, so it's difficult, more and more difficult to get donations also.
So like, beyond these mountain areas, where else have you traveled in Nepal? So beyond these mountain areas like Solukhumbu or these areas, have you been to some of the Tarai parts as well in Nepal?
Of where?
In Tarai areas.
Yes. I was in the Chitwan area, the Lumbini area, and I traveled this by road also.
Okay.
Yeah, so I saw the country quite good.
So beyond the mountain side, which part do you like more in Nepal?
Of course, the national parks in the south, in the Chitwan, with all the wildlife is very nice.
So do you find this kind of wildlife in Austria as well, or like you just see it in Nepal?
No, this kind of wildlife is in Nepal. We have also national parks, very big national parks, but we don't have these animals.
Okay.
They have less animals. Our national parks are protected in the mountains, and they are not allowed to do the new water power stations or build new roads or streets or cable car or such things. But it's different than here.
So what do you think, like, because a lot of things have been changing now, like the sorts of heritage has been changed, So do you find same, like the heritage when you travel, like Patandarwai Square or like, like Basantapur Square, is all same as it was before? Or do you find some change?
After earthquake, it's changed.
It's changed because it broken down and they're all rebuilt.
And they rebuilt quite well. Yeah.
So it's even more beautiful than before, or what?
Partly, yes.
Okay.
Yeah. Just a few days I was in Patan, and they are nearly finished now all, and it's done beautiful.
What all handicrafts do you know of Nepal, like the handicraft products?
Of course, I know all the Danka painting, then the pottery, then the statues, bronze, wood carving, and I like this very much. In my home, I have a lot of things from Nepal, especially the doors are wood carved here, and I brought it to Austria, and so some people say when they come in my house, it's like a Nepali museum.
Yeah, there are a lot of things of Nepal, right?
Yeah.
So your wife also traveled frequently to Nepal,
Yes, my wife.
So it's like the same time, like
No, but 40, 50 times she has.
She's also been
here
like 40, 50 times Nepal. So like every time when you come to Nepal, like she's okay with your travel, or like she's like, it's been too much, like you have to travel so much?
I try to come 2 times a year, and she go once a year.
She wants to come like, every single time.
Yes, also she likes Nepal also, and we have really, really nice and really good friends here, and this is what makes it also. I come here sometimes. I come here only 2 weeks just to see our friends, because friendship you must do that you meet you, and can't say I have a Facebook friend. You must meet your friend and give a hand and have a drink and a food and laugh and speak together. That's important.
Do you remember the group member that you have when you first climbed to Mount Everest? So are you in touch with some of them?
Of course, with all.
This
is the different to expeditions today. We were a group of friends going out for expeditions. We know us from mountaineering in the Alps, and we came here as a group. And just last year we had the 50-year jubileum of our Manaslu expedition, and all who are still alive came there. We made a movie now, 50 years later, because there was no... we had no movie, nothing. We had some slides, and we had some tapes, and out of this
from that time,
and out of this they make a new movie, and it was very successful.
It's a kind of documentary or what?
Yes, documentary.
Oh, okay.
And also from our Everest expeditions, when we had our 40 years jubilee in 2018, all members were still alive, came together to Nepal. We stayed here 2 weeks, went to base camp, to Khumbu, Tengpoche, and have a good time together here. After 40 years, we are all old men now. They are 84, 82, 80, 79.
So how many people were you there when you first made the trip?
On the Everest expedition, we have been 12 people.
Okay.
9 are still alive. And on the Manaslu, we have been 9 people and 5 are still alive. And so, of course, we are in connection. Just when I come back home, we have a mountain festival in Graz, in the area of Austria, and there we meet us also. And
so they were all traveling there as well?
All are traveling there, and we meet us together and have fun.
So what do you talk about? Like, do you also talk about some incidents that happens when we're making the climbs?
Of course, also. But we are planning also new plans.
Okay.
You say what we can do in future, where we will go, where you go, where go you. So let's do it small trek
together,
because we don't climb high mountains now, but we go for a small trek, for example.
So what do you think like that should not change in Nepal? What you don't want to be changed in Nepal? Like you want it to be same?
Same, the culture.
The culture, right?
Yeah, should be the same. The friendly people should not change. And of course, it's a difficult time for young peoples because I think it's quite difficult to find work. And so a lot of people are going away from here, especially also in the mountain areas. They leave, but they should not leave. If they have good tourism, they have good money and earn a lot and have a good life also.
And what change do you want to see in Nepal?
Not so much traffic.
Okay. Or like we'll manage traffic.
Yeah, I hope so.
Yeah.
That the streets are like now in Kathmandu, like it's now, and yeah.
So like, do you find
the development is so big? I see every year when I come, I see new hotel going up, and I'm asking if everybody can live from this. Are there enough people to fill up these hotels and all these restaurants? This is the question. And so it's important to promote Nepal also in foreign countries.
So do you see any change in the people, the way they think, they used to think then and now? So the way, maybe like at that time,
they are more free thinking.
Okay.
Yeah, because in the 70s or 50 years ago or 40 years ago, the world was small here. Now, if something happened anywhere in Nepal, in Lumbini or in the Everest or in Annapurna or in the south, next day, not next minute, the whole world knows it.
Knows it, exactly.
And before, if there was a flood like now in Kakbeni, before, nobody knows about this. Now you see it the same day in the news and everywhere.
So when you look to the youth people up in the mountain, like the people used to see then and now, what do they used to talk about that time? So maybe they used to talk about like, going abroad or like, like they want to make something here in Nepal.
Yeah, they are asking, we are talking, what we're doing, what they're doing, and they have future plans now also.
Exactly.
I think the most important is to learn something. Education is the most important thing for the young people, because if they have a good education, they have a good future. And this is what our thinking is also from the Nepal Hilfe, that we support there where we can do something for children, for education, and help like other organizations.
So like, do they talk about going abroad or like they talk about like working there only? The young people that you meet up in the mountains?
No, they want to go some places where they can have a good work.
Yeah, so they want to just go for learning or like they want to go to settle down there?
I think this is the problem. A lot of people want to go away for settle down also, because here is maybe too less work for all this, if you say 30 million now. And out of these 30 million, I think half of this is 20 years, 25 years, and not more.
Yeah.
And how they should work everything.
So I know, like in Australia, so there are a lot of Nepali people working there, like and settle down there. You know.
Yes.
So are you in touch with these people also? You go there.
Of course. We have a lot of Nepali restaurants in our country, and we like to go there. We know them very well,
now.
and
So somehow they're like your family now.
yes, it's like a family, like a big family.
So what they do talk about? Like they said, like they want to stay there only, or they want to come back Nepal someday.
No, this who settle down, they stay there, but they bring them their families also and to work in the restaurants and everywhere, but regularly they go also back to Nepal, and they support the families in Nepal also. This was they earn there.
Okay. So yeah, it was nice talking to you, Wolfgang. Like we have a lot of things which we share. Thank you so much for sharing your experience. It was wonderful talking to you. And then like I hope like you will be able to come to Nepal more and more in days to come.
I hope to.
Yeah. So do you have some future plans also like?
Of course, next year in April, I think it will be my next time to come to Nepal to go for a small trek for old people like me now, to go to Manang and stay some days there to make nice walks. And so the mountains getting higher and higher as older you get.
True. That makes sense.
More difficult also.
Yeah. So thank you, like thank you for loving Nepal, thank you for loving us, and thank you for coming to Nepal so frequently and like promoting the Nepali tourism internationally. Thank you so much and hope to see you again.
I hope to.
Thank you. Namaste.
Namaste.